for responding to our invitation, Mom and myself, to come for this Thanksgiving. Thank you very much for coming. Secondly, I want to congratulate the religious people for forming the Interreligious Council. I think they formed it when NRM took over, because the NRM rejected the bankruptcy of religious sectarianism. When was it founded, the Interreligious Council? Can you remind me? When was it founded? 2001, long after the NRM. Because in the past, these religious groups were part of the problem of Uganda and part of the problem of Africa and the world, as you can see. But the NRM in the 1960s, as a student movement, firmly rejected and despised sectarianism of religion or tribe. We people from this part of the world, what you may call the Great Lakes, have a deep history. Although we have some problems with some of the groups, but the population is very strong. There's a word I promoted recently called emyoga, plural. If it is one, it is omwoga, meaning life specialization. Before the Europeans came here, we had no unemployment. There was nobody who was not employed. Everybody was employed according to the specialization of your family. We had the cattle keepers, we had the cultivators, we had the blacksmith, the carpenters, the people, each of those is called Omoga. And because of that, there was always interdependency. You would specialize in one area, and then you exchange. It was called okturka, barter trade. You exchange between the groups. Now, initially, colonialism destroyed the myoga because they brought imported products like imported plates, imported utensils, and so on. But when the NRM came into government, we have been able to revive and sort of modernize those skills. And when I'm moving around during the PDM tours and during the campaigns, I see it's beginning to take root. That's why the country is strong. We have got all the basics here. We have food, as you can see, food of all types. We have many of the industrial products which we used to import. They are now made here. The economy is strong. There is some few issues that will be addressed, but the infrastructure to address them is there, but it's not fully used. For instance, the issue of the service delivery. You get some corruption in some of the areas, like PDM, you get some corruption. You get some work on the roads not being done in spite of the money being allocated. But the answer is already there. The answer is the LOC system, the local government system. when we created that system, we were aware that there was the old administrative structure of the DC, the Saza chief, the Gombora chief, the Muruka chief, and those were there. But in the colonial times and after, especially myself, who had lived through all of them, I used to see the corruption of those groups, of those administrators, and the technical people, the veterinary, the medical, their corruption and selling of government drugs and so on. That's why, therefore, when we were preparing our revolutionary movement, we provided for the, yes, let the administrators be there, but let's have our own elected people, the council chairpersons, LOC1, LOC2, LOC chairperson 3, LOC 4, member of parliament, then chairperson LOC 5, and all the other elected leaders, the councillors. These are the ones to supervise the other people, to watch for the interests of the population, so that when the money comes in the area, it's not diverted. You should check, because you are elected by the people. But this one has not been properly understood, so you find them inert, not active, and instead complaining, expecting the central government, which is far away, to be the one to come and check. Yes, we check, and we depend on auditors and so on, but it would be better. It will be much better once the people learn how to use their own elected people. You elect an LC3 to look after your interests, so that your money which is coming into your area is not diverted. But instead of doing that, you find they just elect people because they have, for different reasons. There is still also some sectarianism of religion in some areas, and I actually wanted to talk to the Interreligious Council about it. When you have some religious groups, some individuals, not groups as such, but some individuals trying to bring up sectarianism of religion, sometimes of tribes, that should be castigated. Because the wealth creator, this is an area of wealth creation. And I'm very proud to belong to that culture of wealth creators. We are people who don't depend on anybody. We depend on our wealth. It's very interesting to see what Henry Morton Stanley, one of the first white people to come here, wrote when he came in 1887 in this part of the world. This is a quotation from his book, in quotes: "A march of an hour and a half in the afternoon, apparently not far from the river, brought us to the populous district of the Babusese." This Babusese is now in Congo, what they call Ituri, but it was part of Bunyoro. It's part of our system. The banana plantations were very extensive, reminding me of Uganda, because Stanley had been to Uganda before. He had been to Uganda in 1874. So he said that when he saw these big plantations in Ituri, they reminded him of Buganda, what we call Uganda. And their shades covered a multitude of huts. He wrote this entry on the 5th of December, 1887. fields of millet and sesame, plots of sweet potatoes occupied the outskirts of these plantations. And there was ample evidence round about that the land was thickly peopled and industrially cultivated. This is all in volume 1, page 298, in his book entitled In the Darkest Africa. That's how he called it. Then he continued, in quotes again, going on with the march, we next came to Ndongo. He's mispronouncing them, we may not, we need to get the proper name description. A perfect garden of plantains. The whole country was rich, most surprisingly so. This fellow was surprised by the wealth of our people. The same streaky, argillaceous sandstones prevailed as in Karagwe. Karagwe of Tanzania, because this is part of our system. There was nothing, in fact, that would not have grown here if it liked moisture and a temperate heat. It was a perfect paradise for Negroes. That's what he wrote. It was a perfect paradise for Negroes. As fast as they sowed, they were sure of a crop without much trouble. Though I must say, they kept their huts and their gardens in excellent order, in end of quotes. This is on page 128. Then now, when he left Ituri, he entered now the Ankore area. Ankore, the other, he was placed there. And in quotes, he wrote, crossing a narrow neck of land, descended into the basin of the Rizi. The Rizi is the river in Mbarara. By degrees, the misty atmosphere of this region was clearing, and we could now see about 5 miles distance, and the contour of the pastoral plateau of Ankori. He called it Ankori. Not by any means that it's the best. It was well into the drought season. The dry season had commenced 2 months previously. Hilly range, steep corn, hammock and plain were clothed with grass ripe for fire. The herds were numerous and all as fat as prize cattle. In the valley, we had passed over 4,000 cattle of the long-horned species. The basin of the Riz, which we were now in, and which was the heart of Ankori, possessed scores of the finest herds of cattle I had never seen before. He writes on page 371, 372. So this area, I've actually been wondering what the problem could be. Because you get people just running around, going here, going there. And why we in the NRM were able to farm, I discovered that it is because some of us kept touch with this historical heritage. And whatever knowledge we get from outside, we add on what we have. And because of that, when it comes, for instance, to sectarianism, we despise it. We despise sectarian ideas. Why? Because I am a wealth creator. I am a cattle keeper and a crop grower. What I need from other people is for them to buy my cow, my milk, my beef, my bananas, and me also to buy something from them. So when you come to me and you waste my time with the sectarianism of religion or tribe, nkugambirirawo nti sitaani nvaako. Genda setaani, genda. You are useless to me. I want mutually beneficial interaction, not sterile groupism. Some of the countries in Africa have been destroyed by sectarianism. You can see Sudan, Khartoum. Khartoum was a very powerful country, Sudan. But they destroyed it by sectarianism of religion and of race. And we told Bashir, please, they were calling these South Sudanese, calling them Arabs. If you say South Sudanese, he's not actually black, he's actually blue. And you call a blue man an Arab, he must be sick. So it went on and on and on until Sudan broke up, and you see what is happening there. So therefore, we are now coming up. Uganda is moving at a fast rate. I think this year we shall grow at 7%. GDP, one of the fastest. And when we start our oil flowing, we shall grow by double digits, more than 10%. Therefore, the future is bright. And I would want to appeal to everybody to stick, because you are talking, one of the religious leaders was talking of values that bind us. We need to agree on those values, minimum values. We in the NRM, we have said the minimum values are patriotism, love Uganda. Why? Because you need it for your own good. Love Uganda. Don't only love your tribe and your religious group and this group, because those may not help you so much. Uganda helps you better than the subgroups. So that's why we say principle number one, patriotism. Number two, Pan-Africanism. Love Africa. Why? Because you need it for your own prosperity. Where would we be selling our cement now if we do not have the East African community? We have got surplus cement. We have got surplus milk. We have got surplus maize. We have got surplus sugar. The internal market is not enough. Where would we be selling our products if we didn't have East Africa? If we had not worked with Mzee Moi and Mzee Mwinyi and Mukapa to bring back the East African community, which has now expanded to 8 countries now. Socio-economic transformation, change must become a new society and democracy. So we need to have, if there are some additional minimum points which other people want to add on, they can add them on, so that we have got a minimum points on which we share. But then you find that many of the problems in Africa are caused by parasite groups who are not part of the wealth creation. They don't even care. That's why you hear them talking of violence. How can you be violent in your kitchen, your own kitchen? You can't start conflicts in your kitchen. You must be very careful with your kitchen. Even if you have issues, if you want to fight, you go in the compound and you fight there. You don't fight in the kitchen. But you find groups which promote, mainly pushed by foreigners, because we follow them through the intelligence channels, to create chaos, which of course will not happen in Uganda. There will be no chaos. Nobody will create chaos here. Whoever tries will end up badly, I can assure you of that. Because we have the infrastructure to ensure that there is peace. So therefore, I'm very glad that we have been able to come here, end of the year, to see you, when I see you here singing, so happy, all these groups, Matari, what have you, the other, the Bachwanga. I feel very happy. I only feel suppressed because my Mbara High School end of year song was not sung. So I will ask the choir to sing it for me as when I finish. Lord, dismiss us. That one there. So I'm very glad that we have ended the year. I would happily meet the Interreligious Council in the evening, because during the day I'm campaigning, but if you can be able to have some night time, I can see you, and you in the villages, not here. I will see you not in, because I don't stay in Kampala, I'm in the village most of the time. So my PPS, get in touch with Archbishop Kazimba about meeting them up country, one of the evenings. And then also the media, the one of Serwada. I'm very happy. I like talking once you give me media. I can talk for ages. I have no problem at all. So with these few words, I congratulate you ending the year, and God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mzee. We will now, before we sing the song, we want to recognize the presence of His Excellency, the Ambassador of the European Union. Thank you for coming. We thank the National Organizing Committee, and we thank also the presence of the Mothers Union of Church of Uganda, led by Mrs. Josephine Kasatu. It's a big group there. Kasatu, yes. And after singing the song that His Excellency has requested, we'll have one group photo at the steps of the State House with the foreign people, the Interreligious Council, the Vice President, the Chief Justice, the Head of Diplomatic Corps, ministers present, the former Prime Minister, the former Vice President. So those would be at the end. Shall we now sing a song requested by His Excellency the President, Pastor Isaac? Or Kitara Group, actually you could lead us, since Kitara Group, are you nearby? Lead us on that powerful song. It's on page 22. Page 22. Page 22. And use the ancient rhythm, please. Vision Group, will you help us? Quickly, please. On page 22. With thy blessing, fill our hearts with joy and peace. Let us dance triumph in redeeming grace.
This was our end of term song at Mbara High School. And then the other one, when the term opens, we would sing the other one, the same tune, but another one called Lord Behold Us. Another one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This takes me back to 1959, 1960.
Thank you, Mzee, for that message.